One of the many features that Splatoon 3 added was...
A bit under 2 years ago, I released a video where I tried to find what the hardest badge in Splatoon 3 is. The video was a huge success and jump-started my entire channel. I doubt I would be in the same place I am today without that video. But even then, I knew I wasn't done. We were still in the first season, and now, previously impossible badges only need some grinding, and even harder challenges have been added. I'll be using a similar format to the original video by separating every badge into categories, finding the hardest one in each, and pitting them all against each other in a final round. So let's start this one last time with... Every weapon has 2 badges earned by leveling it up. This is also why even thinking about getting every badge is a horrible idea. 5-star weapon badges are a long grind, but also, it's very difficult to determine a hardest one, because the most efficient way to level up is just getting knockouts in ranked. The best we can do is choose which weapon is the worst in the game, as using the worst weapon will make winning more of a challenge, and a harder/longer process. But there's not really a worst weapon. Plenty aren't that great, but it's kinda hard to mark one as definitively the worst. But luckily we don't have to deal with that because special badges exist. Now, stealing some other people's math, you realize that in a perfect world where you never lose a single match, it can take a few hundred games to get 5 stars, even with Turf War, the worst mode for grinding levels. It takes significantly fewer wins to get 5 stars on a weapon, on top of still gaining progress from losses. It's much easier to mark a special as the worst, and today I've chosen the splatter-colored screen as it's shit, and it's only on 5 weapons. But we don't just get badges from weapons. How could anyone forget about where we use them? Every mode has badges tied to getting wins. Turf War does have a higher requirement, but matches always end after 3 minutes compared to ranked modes, which usually run for 5. But the modes themselves don't matter, as the categories also have badges. Anarchy Series requires you to win 250 sets, which basically means getting 250 series with 5 wins and less than 3 losses. But X Battles also has badges tied to it, requiring you to win 350 series with 3 wins. Despite the lower number of battles per series, X Battles generally has better players than series and still requires more runs, so the 200 win difference, it's not that much of an upside. But X Battles doesn't just force you to get good at winning series, you have to get so good, you're one of the best. Reaching top 10 in X Battles is, believe it or not, a difficult objective. The power levels required are absurd, and you need to hold your place at the end of the season. Only 80 people can get this in a year, and that's not considering that the people who already have it are still going to take up spots for the top 10. I would give this to the Takaroka division because more people play in that division, and more people means more people you have to be better than. But recently, Nintendo made a change that blocked Japanese players and people in nearby regions from joining the Tentatech division. Sure, it makes it easier for us Americans, but the Japanese take up the vast majority of this game's player base, and I don't know how easy I can consider a badge when most of the player base can't even attempt it. So, I kinda have to give this to the Tentatech version, though there are some that no one can. Okay, so I wrote this section of the video originally with the idea that after GrandFest, events were over. There's no more, we can't get these badges anymore, we might as well not even talk about them, because including something that is completely impossible to get is just boring. But they actually confirmed, Splatfest, big runs, all that shit, it's scheduled, we will see repeats. We are so back. So now, I will say, getting 10 wins in 10 X battles is the hardest event badge. You can't force it through skill alone, there's RNG, and you really can't get it done in one Splatfest, compared to other events, which you only need to do well in one. It's not particularly challenging, so it doesn't really matter that I originally left these out in the script. But anyways, now back to the normal video. God, sad to see these be lost to time. If only there were badges that would survive even if the main servers shut down. After Alterna is still the only real challenge in the base story mode, but it's still not that bad. And more importantly, you know what's harder than After Alterna? Gambling. The roguelike elements of Side Order make it impossible to get the specific color chips you need, and these chips are exclusive to weapons that don't favor them. So even by maxing out color chip bias, the only way to really affect your available chips, you're only decreasing the chance of getting what you need. And this red chip, sorry, this one. God, why did they make these all so similar? Tone B red chip, as Inkopedia puts it, has horizontal slash speed and splatling barrage, both of which require a good amount of luck to get, because neither the Splatana or Splatling favor red chips. But hey, we hit it big. Now it's time to spend some earning. You know, capitalism is cool and all, but I need incentive, damn it. Spend $1 million buckaroonies at each storefront and we'll give you a badge you'll never use. Sounds great, but I count brand badges for this end. Well, considering we could get store badges before brand ones, guess what's harder? We'll be giving this to Barazushi specifically, as it has the least gear out of any brand, making it harder to get 100 stars. Barazushi. Sushi. I'm hungry now. Maybe we should grill up some salmon. You'd think it's its own game with how much they expect you to grind. Triumvirate is a weird badge to rank, because it is a legitimate challenge, and its spawns are pretty limited, so you can't even attempt it that often. But you can just reset your rank if you really want to. And the same goes for normal kings. It's a long grind, but you can reset your rank for an easier time. It's also worth bringing up big shots as they don't spawn on high tide. It's pretty often you see normal waves without them, and they don't move far from the shore, so you might be too busy to kill them. But what I consider the hardest salmon run badge is the golden all-time points badge. Big shots aren't that rare, and you can always find a group who's willing to grind king salmon by throwing matches, but there's no real way to speed up the process of lifetime points other than playing a lot of salmon run. So get grinding. I don't have any way to transition into the next category. This is just where I'm throwing anything that doesn't have enough badges in its category to warrant its own section. The shell-out machine is entirely luck-based, requiring you to get every jackpot reward. This has an absurdly low chance of actually happening, and there's no way you can influence the results. Tournament Manager also requires you to get lucky, but not at the slots. The Tournament Manager badge requires you to get lucky at starting a career. Now, the Tournament Manager badges are cumulative. You don't need to host one tournament with 1,000 players, you just need to host multiple tournaments with 1,000 players total. But the only people with any chance of pulling this off are still just streamers. It is worth mentioning the Nintendo Switch Online app, which you need to start tournaments, isn't available in all regions. But it is available in Japan. I'd be a bit concerned if it wasn't. So most of the player base can attempt it. Aside from this, we also have leveling badges, which require you to reach a level 999 for table turf and multiplayer. Though the table turf badge can be automated, so the edge is given to multiplayer. Listen, I'd like to talk about the tournament badge. I'm sure there are plenty of funny clips from very bad people that I could use for it. But I've been doing the math, and I feel like I have to be doing something wrong. 'Cause this is the fucking results. That's how many pulls you need from the shell-out machine for a good chance of getting everything. Why? I know the shell-out machine uses seeds and isn't truly random, but everyone's seed is different, so this is the best I can do to judge difficulty. This is the math I use to get these results, and if anyone can fact check, please do, because I genuinely feel like I have to have fucked up somewhere. Level 999 be damned. That isn't rarer than being struck by lightning twice. Do I need to tell you what the hardest badge is? I went on a rant 10 seconds ago. But just in case my math got messed up somewhere, I'll talk about my runner-up. The Tournament Manager badge expects you to have enough control over a good amount of people that will fight in your events. And even if you can wrangle 1,000 people, you can't do it in one go because Nintendo doesn't allow it. And if you want to host an event with that many people, you need permission from them. So you need to get a few hundred people to participate in multiple tournaments using an app that isn't available in all regions. Streamers and content creators are the only people with any chance of getting this. Anyone can no-life a game, but only the worst can become streamers. Congrats, Nintendo. You fuel my addiction.